Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about some different topics, and they're all somehow connected to the UFO community or to the phenomena. And as it is said in the thumbnail and in the title, this is kind of boring. This will be a boring video. So if you expect videos about NHI UFOs, it's not here. We are talking about the project. We are talking about the CIA. We are talking about politics for the first time. We are talking about TICs, um, the World Economic Forum, of course, the disclosure process, and I'll give you an update about the Voronezh file, and I will give you an update about the TWPH data we have just released. And we are talking about books, also for the first time. So, um, if you expect some cool videos about UFOs or flying cows and some stuff like that, so uh, turn off or switch channel. It's not here. Okay. Um, I'm doing this for 25 years now, and the project is almost that old. And what I've always done until today, I was listening to everybody. I was listening to everybody, even if the story they told me was uh, total crazy, weird. I never judged people about what they told me, and it was always a good exchange. You can listen to people and you can hear their story, and if you start judging them, you won't hear any crazy stories anymore, and maybe you hear 99% full of BS, but number 100 is the information. You need to connect some dots, and maybe it's worth gold, this story number 100, and you will miss it if you don't listen to everybody in the community. And I don't care if they voted for Trump, for Biden, if they are radical uh, climate uh, activist, or if they're vegan, if they're black, white, or Asian. I don't care. What matters if you're in the project is the person and his or her story. So I'm listening and I don't judge. Of course, I'm considering data in my head and make my assumption or my conclusion. If someone tells me, or a lady tells me she's dancing every night with gray little dwarfs around her garden, uh, I listen to her, and I will never say it's BS. Of course, I make my conclusion in my head, but that's my opinion. And um, what I mean is that everybody in this community, should be very open minded. And for a long time, for a very, very long time, this UFO phenomena, the research on the UFO phenomena has been a refuge, a political or a politics free refuge for me. So politics were never mentioned. It was always about the UFO phenomena. That was great. So, as I said, you are talking to people and not to someone who voted for Trump, for Biden, or as a Muslim or a Christian or Jew, you were talking to people. But that has changed during the last years. Unfortunately, everything, really everything, is politicized right now. And even the UFO phenomena is politicized right now. And that means that you don't enter this topic with an open mind. You enter this topic with a filter, which is not good. And a lot of stuff will fall from the card and never reach a conclusion. So this is weird. So this is really weird. And I made the decision that if you hear to people, if you listen to them without judging them, that's diplomacy. And that's very important. But there is so much hate and so much commercial in this community. People are only in this UFO community because it's worth it because it pays out. We got what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson, who always was mocking abductees and people who were in this UFO phenomena, and now he's writing a book, and everything has changed. Now he realized, oh, there is some change. I hop on the horse and get some bucks with it. And that's the problem in this community, because we have so much disinformation. We have so much people who are not identifying with the phenomena. There are some people like Gary Nolan, or George Knapp. I think they're veterans, and they're honest in everything they say. I think Gary Nolan is he thinks about every word he says, and he got a strong opinion. Also, he never said this is like this and that. He always says, I'm reading the data, and I take my conclusions out of the data. So that's the way it works. So George Knapp always was someone I trusted, because he's in the business for a very long time. And there's so much people in this community who really give it a bad name. So everything is about politics and commercial and disinformation, and we even start to rewrite history. And that is something that bothers me. I don't know if you have heard, there is the Helen of Troy, the new, I think the director is, I think Nolan. Let me look it up. I think it's Nolan. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There's this movie, Helen of Troy, and it's a remake, and Helen of Troy is suddenly black. So, and there is a guy, a warrior. I forgot. I'm really bad with names. So, but he's the actor is a trans man. He's about, I don't know, 5 foot tall, very slender, and he's playing the warrior. So they start to rewrite history, and they you can't rewrite history. It's history because it's written, so you can't rewrite it. And imagine we would uh, we would do a remake about Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King would be a blonde, tall white guy who was fighting for the rights of every black person in the United States. If Disney would produce this movie, I bet they would burn down Disneyland. So we are rewriting history, and it doesn't matter if you're a Trump supporter or if you're Biden or Kamala Harris or wherever you come from. Something deep inside you must tell you there's something wrong in this society. We keep fighting each other. Um, Society is torn apart. We are keeping fighting each other. We fighting black against white, um, um, female against versus male, and so on. We keep so busy fighting each other that we have forgotten who our real enemy is. And I'll come to this later, but we have forgotten who our real enemy is, and that's because we are fighting each other for no reason. Actually, there is hate on each side, and societies were destabilized, and there's so much going on, and we have to stay together to solve this problem, to look behind the curtain and see who is behind it. But instead of that, we fighting each other. So this is a big problem in this society, or in Western societies, and also in the UFO community. If everything is now politicized, that's not my UFO phenomena anymore. So you can't say anything without being judged about a political outcome. So, and that's not the UFO phenomena. The UFO phenomena is the truth for the people, for the truth for everyone on this, for every human on this earth. And that's what is about the disclosure and the UFO phenomena. And yeah, I would like to give you some information, some details about a story that happened last year, and it was really bad for our project. And we were thinking about, and this caused others in our project to pull back from social media because it was getting kind of hot. And yeah, as I told you, we are doing this for 25 years, and it's not like that we were watching. We are not researchers like we watch some YouTube channels or read books about this topic. We started to in the early 2000s, and we were we were taking field measurements, and in underground ancient structures, and we were traveling all around, all through Europe, Germany, France, Switzerland, Austria, and so on. And that's how everything started. And if you got more involved in history and in the ancient history, you come to the conclusion that you can't left out the UFO phenomena, and that's what I criticize on archaeologists, that the parameter or the component UFO phenomena is completely left out. It's not even something they would think about. So, and it has played a role all uh, in almost every culture, ancient culture. It played a role. So, therefore, I judge the archaeologist, for example. So, but that's not the topic. The topic is we're doing this, and we went I think it was 2 years ago. We decided to go online with our project and to public some stuff. And we thought, okay, if we got a channel like YouTube, maybe we can get some money from it. And everybody in our project has a job, and we can make a living with our job, and we have good jobs. I like my job. I love my work and what I'm doing. So it's not for us to have a living. It's just to support us in our work, because we have put so much money in it. Each of us, everybody of us has put so much money in this project, and it's a relief if you get some for traveling around Europe, and maybe new devices, technical devices, if you get a little bit of support. So that's fine. But it didn't work out that way. We started, and there were, in the first month, we got like 30 subscribers on YouTube, and then we had some results we wanted to share, and they were like delicate, I would say, like government delicate stuff. And we published it, and I got in contact, and that's information I've never given before, and I don't care anymore. That's what I told you at the beginning. The diplomacy is over. I don't care anymore if someone is judging us or is saying, "Hey, what a shitty content," or "That's boring," or "That's." So I don't care. I don't care anymore. Go somewhere else, or find your luck there. I probably, I have to admit, I probably broke a YouTube record for the most engaging and smallest community on YouTube, because the feedback we got and I got behind the scenes is tremendous, and there are very few people, but they are very engaged, and they give us information, and that's why I can give you about the Voronezh update and the update on the data we just published. So we have probably the most engaging and smallest community on YouTube. So, and this is I was in contact with a former CIA, and that was that was a great mistake. So I have to admit that was my fault, and I should have never done this, because I was in contact, and it was kind of neutral. The contact was very fine, and 2 days later, we got an email, and that reads, "Okay, I give you like the content of the email. Okay, I see you published a lot of stuff, and this is really bad, and we would like that you delete all your stuff. And sometimes really bad things happen to bad people, and we don't want that." So that was what what's in the email. I made screenshots of it. I make screenshots of every thread I get. I got some from religious groups, and yeah. Also, I think we got more popularity in opponents than in actual subscribers. So okay, um, we got this email with the thread, and I can tell you the guys in the project are like, they're conservatives. They're not like, oh yeah, we have to go to social media and make they're not these TikTok guys. They're even older than me, and they say, okay, stay on the ground. Let it. We published some stuff on paper a few years ago, and let's stick there. So no social media. That's so they when this email came after the contact with the former CIA, and this, you probably know this guy. He's active in the community, and maybe it's a coincidence that we got this thread email after the contact. But to give you a context, there was a Spanish journalist who contacted me. I think it was May or June in last year. So he was he was writing an article about there was some consciousness fair in Barcelona or Madrid, I don't know. And he was writing an article about it and was catching some voices from different sites. So we talked on the phone, and it was quite good. So we exchanged numbers and had a very good chat. And yeah, so what happened? I think it was a month later. It was after the incident with the email. So he sent me a message and said, "Hey, what did you do?" So I said, "What did I do?" So I had no idea. Yeah, the DoD, and you screwed them, and I had no idea. And if a journalist tells you that, then you are like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, I would say. That doesn't make good feeling if a Department of Defense or another department in the United States is looking at you, and yeah, it was not a good thing. So, and I was wondering, and now it's almost a year ago, how did a journalist in Spain I was in contact with knew about the DoD stuff? Because it was we published a video about Lockheed and Skunk Works. So I was thinking, why should a journalist know? And now I think the DoD or whatever was never involved in this at all. It was just to intimidate me and the project. So it was probably connected to this email. And what's more interesting, and maybe it's a coincidence, I have no proof for it. We had like always like 30, 32 followers, and it was like we were active like 2 months or 3 months. So, and then this video came out about Lockheed Skunk Works, and you could see, if you have a YouTube channel, you can see the viewers in real time, like last 48 hours or last 7 days or last 60 minutes. And if you have a new channel, you probably watch it all the time. You got it on an app on your phone, and you watch who is watching, not who is watching and how many are watching and stuff like that. You cannot see who is watching. So, and there was a point, and I thought, okay, that's the turning point. We got subscribers, a lot of subscribers within a very short period of time, and suddenly, within 2 hours, everything broke down. Everything, really everything. We went down by 90% of viewers, of clicks on our videos, and within hours. And at the same time, I think it was 2 hours later, 3 hours later, I got a message from X, and that my account is limited for some security reason. And what does it mean? It means that everything you write on your timeline will not be distributed to anyone, not to your followers or to anyone. So, but I have to say thank you to X, because they at least told me that. So I knew that there was a limitation they set for a few months. So, okay, I was in contact with this former CIA. Then I got this email. Then the drop down with the decreased numbers of clicks was before the journalist called me, but it was, everything was within like 7 days. So, if was it a coincidence, or I don't know. I don't believe in that it was a coincidence. I think it's all connected, and I think we have yeah, triggered a point with, I don't know if it was a skunk work video, because it appeared after the skunk work video. That's my assumption, but I have no idea, and maybe it's just a big coincidence. So I have no idea. So I have no proof, and yeah, that's how it started. And since then, we are suffering. But it's okay. But it's okay. It's okay for us. So, if there are some people we can exchange, and you know what's more important, when you start this a social media presence, it's the swarm intelligence. So we get so many information from viewers about some videos, and they're that's really good. So, I don't want to miss that. So I rather would be with 500 or 200 followers than with 10,000 followers who are not active. So, yeah, this is about the project and about what happened last year. And as I told you, it doesn't matter where you come from your political view, or for your social view. If you look on societies, you see something is not right, and there is something very, very wrong, and we have to find out who it is. So, there's a new phenomena that occurred, and first, when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, that's another conspiracy theory, and that's a BS. So they have found a new rabbit hole, and you can't, even if you're an enthusiast, and if you can't go down every rabbit hole. So I know um, people are triggered if you don't believe, if they believe in, for example, in the flat earth theory. I never said I don't believe in that, but that's not my rabbit hole. And they got very good arguments, and the other side has good arguments. I'm not a flat earther, but I would never say, hey, what you are saying is it's BS. So I'm listening, as you remember, and who can tell if he's right or wrong? So I'm listening, and but they're very like triggered if you say, okay, you're. I'm not a flat earther, so but you got some good points. So, but that's not enough. They want you to commit to this belief. So this is a kind of intolerance, because they say so much depends on if you think that the earth is flat. So there's so much connected to it, and if you don't think the earth is flat, then you got a problem with more conclusion in your work. So um, I listen to points and arguments, and but I'm not convinced right now. So, and I think the moon landing, yeah, there was a moon landing, and I probably see my subscriber count dropping now. But they got pretty good arguments against a moon landing in the 60s, but I think they were on the moon. So, but I don't want to argue with those people. I want to listen, and I want to go into an exchange, and that is what it's all about. So there was this new rabbit hole, or the new conspiracy theory I thought, and it was ticks. So there were farmers in the Midwest, and they were complaining about that someone drops boxes with thousands of ticks, and they were running around and going after the livestock and infecting the livestock and causing, if you, as what I understood, if you got infected by a tick as a human, or if you eat the meat of a livestock that was infected, that would cause an allergic reaction if you eat meat. So first, okay, that's another rabbit hole. Another conspiracy theory, and you don't have time to go down that. So, but in between, I think there's a kind of people you can believe, and this is farmers um, don't have the urge to spread some weird theories, because they're grounded, and yeah, they are affected by this phenomena, where people dropping obviously from planes on areas where livestock is, and there are thousands or hundreds of thousands of takes going after them. So there is wildlife that is so covered with uh, 10,000 of ticks. So they were dying, and there's something behind that. So they would, what they want to do, that's the conspiracy theory, or the theory behind it, is they want people to force to be unable to eat, or to uh, yeah, to eat beef or meat anymore. And this is connected, and I'm an absolute enemy of the World Economic Forum, and I'm an absolute enemy of the World Health Organization. I think both are cancer to society. I will give you just an example. The World Economic Forum is collecting young politicians, so they call it Young Global Leader. They you go there and you get educated, and what they do is they gear you up with money. So therefore they penetrate parliaments all over Europe, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Canada, and I don't know exactly if what's about the United States, but I know it's Canada, it's Europe, many countries in Europe, New Zealand, and there's one thing that every country shares, when people from the World Economic Forum come to power. So I think this video won't survive very long. So and that's not a conspiracy theory, because you can have a look at it. Please look up. When was a global leader in charge, a young global leader in charge of a country? For example, Tony Blair started 1999, I think. It was 1999. So he started 1999. Now it's Starmer. And in between there were some changes, but now it's Starmer. And Macron in France and in Germany, there were a couple of young global leaders. And you can look it up. Please do it. Go to each country, to the statistics, to the public statistics provided by the government, and you will see an increase of crime in every country as soon as a YGL was implemented in office. So what happened is the climate agenda was pushed, and I think about the climate change. I think there is a climate change. Of course, you must be blind not to see a climate change, but we have to discuss very calm and very professional, not me, because this has to be done by specialists. It has to be discussed whether it is man-made or whether it is a normal appearance in Earth's history. So, and there are people who say, okay, we got a climate change for sure, but climate is changing, but we have to look at the data if it really was a man-made climate change, because we have indications that 6,000 years ago we got the same situation, and maybe there was a higher concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere. But so we have to look at the data, and we have to find out. Everybody who says that, every scientist who was saying this was muted. They took away financial support for their projects, or they even got fired. So there is something going on, and that's not good. So please look at it. Look, when was a YGL installed in the parliament? And then you take the crime statistic of each country, because, for example, Europe has very, very detailed crime statistics. So you can look when they started office and how crime increased, how crime rates increased. So that is destabilizing to the society. And what I was telling you, there's something wrong with society. You don't have to be left, right, middle. You see something is wrong, and we are fighting each other, and that's the result of this politics. And I tell you, not Trump is ruling, and not Biden was ruling, and there. I don't know how it is in Russia and how it is with Xi Jinping in China. So, but someone is ruling with money, for example. And now we get back to the ticks. For example, Bill Gates, the Bill Gates Foundation, I think it was the Bill Gates Foundation or Bill Gates himself, he gave in Europe, journalists had to publish and publisher had to publish who supported them with what amount of money. So, and you could see Bill Gates or the Bill Gates Foundation, I don't know, they put amounts between 300,000 and 3 million euros, depending on how big the publisher was for newspaper and news and television and stuff like that. So, and all these publishers had a positive agenda to the V vaccine, and they were pushing the C vaccine. So, and they were pushing the agenda. And don't get me wrong, I always thought journalism is neutral, but I know they're playing a big role within the whole who is governor. So actually, the media is playing a big role of doing misinformation, of giving misinformation to the people, because they are not neutral. They are looking for who I'm speaking for, who gave me or who gives me the proper amount of money. It all has to do with money. So if there is a rich foundation or a rich organization who can provide money to vote to people within a party and a political party or a publisher, they can do in this society whatever they want. They got a big playground with a lot of stuff. For example, there is some guy, I won't name the guy, but you probably know who I'm talking about. He has released 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes into the wilderness. So I think, or my opinion is, that it has been always a bad idea if people were manipulating nature. And our best example is Australia, where we have some species that doesn't belong to the continent, and they have a lot of trouble with it. And every time humans try to control nature, it always went not well. So he was releasing 750 million modified mosquitoes into the wilderness, and what happened to them, what's the outcome is, nobody knows. But I'm asking, who gave him this permission? If there was some governor in Florida who said, okay, You can do that, and you can release them. They don't stay there. They go to South America or wherever. So I think, and the same guy probably is responsible for the ticks phenomena. I think he's responsible for the ticks phenomena. And I have read an article about him. I don't know if it's true or not. It was an article in a newspaper, and he was saying he wants to people get vaccinated by mosquitoes. So they are trying to research if it's possible to people get vaccinated, because as you remember, there was the society was torn apart in vaccinated people and non-vaccinated people, and I you have to ask honestly, if you get vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated, you have no problem because you're vaccinated. All I have to care about is myself. So if you're vaccinated, you are fine. Why do you care if I'm vaccinated or not? So but therefore, because there were a lot of people who doesn't get vaccinated in the last pandemic we had, he was research. His research was on can we vaccinate people with over mosquitoes? So that's what his idea was. And I'm asking. I've mentioned her name. I'm asking, why is this guy not in jail for what he is doing to society and to humanity? This is I have no words for it. I have no words. So now the ticks, probably there is some person who is equipped with money, or some organization equipped with money, who can drop who flies around and drop boxes with ticks. I mean, you have to farm them to get this amount of ticks, and then you have to modify them genetically, and you have to take them to planes and fly over the Midwest and drop them wherever. I mean, there's money behind it. So I have no idea why those people are not in jail, to be honest, and they deserve it. So, and yeah, this is uh, the the worst outcome I think we have in the last years, that there are people with money who can control uh, our environment. So I always thought, if someone can, I remember 10, 12 years ago, there was some guy who came up to me and said, hey, you know, we taking stuff into the atmosphere with planes. And I said, okay, that's another rabbit hole. And if you are in the UFO phenomena, you are confronted with a lot of weird stuff and a lot of rabbit holes. So, okay, I said, I was listening, but I was not judging, but I made my own conclusion. I said, okay, I put this back somewhere in a drawer for the next 20 years when I have done disclosure. That's my next topic. So, but I have to admit, he was right, and that they don't even try to cover it. They admit that they put chemicals out in the atmosphere, and they admit it. It's not longer a secret or a conspiracy theory. They admit it. So, who allows them? Who voted for it? Who voted the politician who allowed them to put chemicals in the atmosphere? And I remember we got 2 years ago, we got this weird fog and weird snow, and that was kind of sticky. And if you was walking through the snow, and there were to the fog, you got these strange stuff on your clothing, and last winter we had a very interesting incident because there was a trailer with magnets inside on the wall, and we were wondering because there were the magnets were at the wall of the trailer. The snow that was on the side um, disappeared, and there was black. It was like blackish. So there, where the magnets were, there was concentrating some chemical stuff, probably some metal, very fine, uh, pure and microscopic metal, but it was ranging all around the magnets. And I can remember that this was the case when I was a teenager or a kid. We had pure snow. We could eat it. We could we made small snowballs and eat it. But because if you eat a snowball, you probably get sick. So a lot of has changed. And who was voting for it, and who allows that? So that's a huge. I got my own theory, but I won't speak out here. I have come to the conclusion not everybody is not judging. So, but what I want to share with you is a now we come to remote viewing, and by remote viewing there is a there came out some stuff. So and the next pandemic will be about a different, probably a different version of a modified version of the SARS-CoV virus, and it will paralyze your digestive system. And you can read about it. I will link it in the description. You can read about it, and we have made after the viewing, we have made a scenario how we from a scientific point of view, what could happen, what is probably explainable, and it came to the conclusion, yeah, it's possible. So the point is, it's by a microbiome, by a virus, you get infected. It's probably a modified SARS-CoV virus, and this virus will paralyze your digestive system. So you will have a poisoning inside your body because a septic, because you can't transport your stool out of the body, and toxic substances will accumulate in your body, and it's actually you can actually cure this kind of well. So, but you need intense medical care, and if you think about that 50 or 70 million people are infected at once, the healthcare system will probably break down, and there will be no help for everybody. So this will decrease the world population significantly. I will put a link in the description. So that's about conspiracy and politics, and I think we go to the next politician, and that is Trump and his disclosure. As I said before, I don't want to be ungrateful, and he probably was kind of naive to think, okay, I'm in charge now, and I can publish whatever I want. And I remember when there was this this drone phenomena over New Jersey. He said before he was in office, he said, as soon as I get into office, I will find out who it is. What's the origin of this situation in New Jersey? And he had to find out very soon that he was muted by the CIA. So he said, okay, we know you are the president, but you are not in charge to give this information to the public. So that was the first situation. He got back to reality, I would say. And now he wanted to publish about the UFO phenomena. What reason ever he was publishing this, and I know that it's going again politically. I don't care why he published it, for what reason, but I think he's the first president who ever does it, and we have to be grateful for it. Also, everything he publishes, or he's allowed to publish, let's say this way, everything he's allowed to publish is blurry dots, or that can be anything or nothing. So this will fire a discussion, and nobody will find out about disclosure. And as you know, I told you disclosure will never happen from a governmental side. So I made a video about it and explained it. So full disclosure will never happen because there's so much connected to it, and therefore it will never happen. So the only people who can push disclosure forward are the researchers and the journalists who are working honestly on this phenomena. So yeah, I would like to give you, as I told you, I got probably the most engaging and smallest community on YouTube, and I want to give you an update on the Voronezh video we made there. As you remember, I put a link down in the description. I think it was 1989, I think. There was an incident in Voronezh in Russia, and there was this UFO that landed there in a populated area, and they were holding some kind of beams, pipe beams, and they were collecting stuff. That's what we find out. And they were collecting, in our opinion, cobalt 60. So, but what we did not know was why they were looking for cobalt 60 in a well-populated area. So, and then we got an email, and thanks to the viewer, he said all around Voronezh there are deposits from the nuclear reactor that is like 30 miles away. There is a nuclear reactor, and there are deposits, and these deposits are collected on deposit sites all around Voronezh. And there was an incident I think it was 3 years before. There was an incident where water leaked out of the reactor, and this water was contaminated with cobalt 60. So the viewer who sent this, thank you very much, because he was, I think he comes from Russia, and he could access Russian newspapers and stuff. So he got other sources than we had. And he said there was an incident a few years earlier, where water was leaking into the environment, and it was poisoned with or contaminated with cobalt 60. And there, he said, there all around this area where the UFO landed, there were all deposit stations where they collect the waste from the nuclear site. So that was very interesting because we could not say why they were collecting cobalt 60 in a populated area. And that could probably be a explanation. Thank you for that. So the next update is on the TWPH data we lately published. It was not published on a video. We published a PDF file, and I put a link down in the description. And what it basically what it says is there is a species that cannot synthesize or metabolize a protein that's called phenylalanine. So they're not able to synthesize this protein, and since they're not able to synthesize this protein, because if you not synthesize it, that accumulates to a toxic concentration in your system, and then you're gonna die or get sick. So the anomaly in this entity, in this NHI, was that this phenylalanine is responsible for the synthesis of tyrosine, and tyrosine is responsible for the synthesis of melanin, because they are not able, and that's the reason they are not able to create melanin for themselves. So they got white hair, as you see in the back at Ashley. That's I have never introduced you to her. This is Ashley, right behind me, and she is with me for forever. I think she's in this office for forever. So this is Ashley, and she got white hair. So white hair like this, and a very pale skin, and therefore what we put a working title on the species that's called great tall white. So I wouldn't say it's accurate, but just that's what we called it. And they were not able to synthesize phenylalanine, so therefore, and they could not produce melanin to have dark hair, darker skin, and darker eyes. So blue eyes, green blue eyes, pale skin, white hair. So, and they have to excrete phenylalanine in order to be non-toxic to the body over the skin. So what they do is they excrete the phenylalanine over the skin, and that causes a sour milieu on the skin. And the video is called what would it taste like if it's an alien. So it would be sour and bitter because of the byproducts on the skin surface, and sour because the sweat actually is sour. So that's what it tastes like if you kiss an alien. That was the funny title of the thumbnail. And a physician, let me check. A physician emailed me. So he was relating to this video, to the what it tastes like if you kiss an alien. And he said there is a condition in for humans, a genetic condition that is causing this lack of being of the lack of synthesizing phenylalanine. People who are not able to synthesize or to metabolize phenylalanine are often have because phenylalanine is responsible for setting up the philtrum. And the philtrum is the small, I would say, gap, and it's not a gap. It's impression on your upper lip, and that's a philtrum. And people who are not able to synthesize phenyl, real human who are not able to synthesize phenylalanine, got a flat or smooth philtrum, and they're also have limitations in in intellectual and cognitive development. So there's a condition in humans because humans can excrete phenylalanine over the skin, and that causes an effect uh, on the intellectual and cognitive outcome, and will create a flat or smooth philtrum. So that was kind of interesting to hear that, and thank you for that information. That is what I'm talking about, swarm intelligence, because these kinds of information are so they're they're so great, and I appreciate that to get this information, because it shows that we on the right track with our data, and we sometimes maybe overpace a little bit, and but actually I would say we are in the right direction, and we got very relatable and good data for the disclosure process, and not everything is cool and maybe accurate, I know, but I'm convinced we are on the right track. So last but not least, I would like to talk about books. So I told you it's kind of boring, this video. People from a community recommended me books, and I would like to show that I take every recommendation serious. So that was recommended by a viewer, and I ordered it because I didn't have it, and I will read it. And then there's something from Carlos Castaneda. I got the original in German. I got the editions from the 70s, and there is another one, also in German. And I would like to show that I take every recommendation serious, and I don't judge. I don't. I've started to read the Carlos Castaneda books, but they're new to me, and they're kind of related to the to the um, remote viewing phenomena, and interesting stuff. So I would like to give a recommendation today, a book recommendation, and this is the book. So it's this is a German version, but there's also a an American or an English version. It's called History of Satan, and it's written by Auguste François Lecanu. It's an French author, and the book was written in the mid 1900s. I think it was 1840 or 1870, around that. years. And this book is, I think, if you are going into the UFO phenomena, show you again. Auguste Lecanu, that's the name on the cover. I think if you dive into the UFO phenomena, you should read this book because it's obviously a Christian point of view, but you will find out if you put down the filter and read what's in the book, you find out what is causing or who is promoting the Satan cult. And this came up again with the Epstein files, and the blue and white temple and the stuff. And what I think personally, he has to do something from my understanding, and what I think about the Epstein stuff is that he was someone who collected data of people with influence, and this data was sent out to the Israel state. So I think they collected the data. He was not collecting it for the CIA. I think he was collecting it for Israel, and they use this information when needed. So if you look at the Epstein files, and let me tell you now, every one who is mentioned in the Epstein files is prosecuted from the public or from the social media, and I think you can be mentioned there, but that doesn't mean you supported that what he has done. And I think basically it was about a huge playground for an individual, and the byproduct was data of people who were in power or in charge of company CEOs and stuff like that. And he was collecting this data, and this was provided to the state of Israel, I think. And they used this information when needed. So if you are photographed, like I think it was the photo with Andrew from the UK, and their compromising images. Somehow you can be they can manipulate you to make decisions, maybe, or push buttons for them if needed. So I think it was a collection to collect data from people, and he was collecting it for the state of Israel, I'm pretty sure. So, and this book is about this book, History of Satan. That's the English name. It's about who promotes and who conservates this cult, and make your own conclusion. As I said, it's a Christian point of view, and you have to take down this filter. And what's left is a very good explanation of how people work today. So this is a basic literature for everyone who is dealing with conspiracy theories, UFO phenomena, and stuff like that. So that's my recommendation. And that's all for today. And finally, this video is over. If you make it to this minute, congratulations. You are hardcore, and I appreciate that. And if you like to support us, you can subscribe to the channel. Very easy. or subscribe to X, and you get all the information, frequent updates, and it doesn't cost you a dime. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.